I think everyone wants to have a special life. You know, we all want to live life. I don't know, but I am definitely worried about just wasting my life, you know, not living at full. When I started being an artist, I thought, okay, well, that is actually, maybe it'll be fulfilling. I needed to do something a bit different. I wanted to leave a small town and arrive in a big city and do something. I needed to do something special. Life is very short. So if I have to describe just my painting with one word, harmony. Yeah, if I have to describe the goal or why I paint, I guess, the harmony. I think my career as an artist starts in Rome. In the beginning of the 80s, I had some of my families in the art world, filming, design. So in particular, I had a grandfather who was living in Rome. He was an architect and a bit like a flamboyant interior designer in a way. A beautiful man, a bit of a playboy. And I used to visit him, not very often, but because my mom was living in Forlì with me. Grandfather used to take me to few the very important bit, which I think it was part of his daily routine. So we would go down from his flat in Via Margutta, and there was what in Italy would be called a marmista. So basically a shop when they would make marbles or for decoration. And he will have a chat with him about the state of the art. Then he would take me to a cafe nearby in Piazza del Popolo, you know, quite a famous cafe called Rosati. And I will have a coffee with him there. Remember, I was really like a young child. But again, that experience, I just liked it. I liked being there. And of course, Piazza Navona, because I think Piazza Navona is where, I remember obviously the caricature, you know, people who used to do caricature. But I guess that as a child was a bit more instant, but I'm sure he meant, you know, to show me more the statue there. He had this obsession with the difference between good taste and bad taste. So he would test me on everything. He would show me, he would test me on everything, from a chair in a restaurant to a painting in a church. Good or bad, yes and no. He wanted me to be I guess sophisticated. He was very pretentious in a way. So he wanted me to be, his worst nightmare was to me to be non-stylish or not cultural enough. Or not. So I think he overdid that, probably because of that. Plus he was also itself, he was himself an abstract artist. So again, I guess that was also fascinating, going to his mini studio. I definitely enjoyed it. I wasn't exposed to that in my own town growing up. So seeing, you know, the big city like Rome, all the beautiful places he would take me to, then seeing him actually painting a canvas. So I thought, what is that? So So yeah, I guess he introduced me to a beautiful thing and abstraction in art. And then I'm back home, and I'll start looking at those famous abstract artists, especially the Spanish one, like Miro. I grew up in Forlì, which is kind of sits in between Bologna and the seaside and the Adriatic coast. Very small town. I was there until my teens years, yeah, before I moved to Bologna to study there at university. If I go back to those times, I think I have to think about my house. I was really fortunate that I grew up in a really beautiful house. And I was an only child. So living in that big house on my own, it was like a castle. And I think that gave me the chance to think big. I definitely wanted to leave that castle, that beautiful castle, but I wanted to take with me that castle in a way. It was more in Bologna where I started looking at the architecture of the city, looking at the walls of Bologna. I started thinking, okay, I like to do something like that. And then I started looking at all the art, old master painting, and I started being really interested in those patches of color, from architecture to painting. And I thought, okay, how can I improve those colors? How can I isolate those colors? How can I make those colors like my grandfather wanted? So I started seeing every painting more for their background in a way, more for the areas of color. I was trying to isolate those, you know, in painting like from old master, but even like painting like Modigliani. Yeah, that was my call. I think that's what I wanted to do. So Rome is the idea, and then Bologna, I start put that in practice. Because Bologna has this lovely, obviously, range of reds and brown, and I thought, okay, let me photograph them. Because by then I was taking photographs. I wasn't a painter yet. So I thought, let's do it with the photography first. Then I became really fascinated with those artists that manage with a simple image to portray such high quality. And I'm talking about Rothko, Burri, and especially Morandi, because Morandi was from Bologna. Morandi to me was like the perfect painter. A small canvas, a small subject, a limited range of colors, but yet perfect. So I wanted to do something like that, definitely. Straight to the point, straight to perfection, in the quickest way. Abstract and simple. So I started even with acrylics, because you start usually with that. It's easy. Acrylics is water-based. It dries very quickly. So my first tests were definitely a mix of photography and acrylic. So it started towards the end of my years at university, when I started living by myself, and so I was decorating. And then is the move to London that made me definitely think, okay, this could be my career. I could do that full time. I knew what I wanted to paint. I knew what I wanted to describe. I wanted to work on colors. I wanted to offer unusual color, very well researched, color that were almost invented by me. But obviously the problem was what composition, what do you put this color in? Inevitably a canvas is a blank square. So I started experimenting. So at first there were compositions very simple, made of blocks of color that I thought were beautiful. And then I started developing slowly, a different way of different composition, because even in abstraction, you will have a composition, it's inevitable. But it's all about the color you will see in my work. The aim is that you see colors that you haven't seen before. So color is paramount, is what is the main thing of my work, but also how colors are put together. So the combination of color. So then the shape helps color to appear or disappear. The colors are presented in a canvas in different volumes. It's almost like, so the shape makes sure the combination works better. So it can be straight, curvy, but the aim is not to describe anything, but it's just to let the color talk. So if I decide to have a particular kind of blue next to a particular kind of yellow, then they can't be at this, obviously, they need to have a different proportion. And that's where shape comes in. The first oil painting I did, they had a pure, quick idea. They contain a lot of gold, brown, white, but definitely color pinched from my Italian heritage. And that was my first show, my first body of work, which was, and it still is, very, very different from everything else. Then there was a period of exploration, trying to find, again, different shade, different composition, but it remained all quite organic and quite heavy in a way, quite simple. The lines were quite blurred. And then there was a big moment, I think, around 2016, when I met Elena, an architect, a Russian architect, and that we started working together on some ideas. She looked at my work with a great deal of passion, and she helped me, in a way, cleaning the line. Plus, she introduced me to, something that I knew already, but it was more personal, to all the Russian geometry, for example, from the big name of Kandinsky in particular. And I introduced some geometry in my work, which is, I think geometry is something quite classical. And then a combination of introducing geometry and having line more precise in contour, literally between areas, I think that was a big change. And I think that is almost like I found finally my composition. It's almost like, okay, that's how I found what I was looking for. Well, the process of making something artistic never ends. It's a constant development, and I think in a thriving city like London, there's always room to improve. There's always new things happening, and there's always illusion that something more or something better can be done and can be produced. And I think that illusion alone is what keeps us going and happy. And I think you arrive in London and everyone's doing everything at the top of their game in every business. So you become more modest in a way. So your ambition grows, but you become more modest. You judge your work more rigidly. There's one place in particular where I feel that when I need either inspiration or when I have some doubt about what I do, what I've been doing, there's one place that never fails to inspire me, never fails to make me happy, which is the Charing Cross Bridge. When I walk there, I look around and I feel safe. And that never fails to inject fresh enthusiasm in me. So that view, it's for me, is the center of the world, is where I feel at home. Because this is, in a way, is the center of the world. What else can you be, if not here?